In my previous video, I was talking about my failed attempt to replace stock NVIDIA RTX 3070 Ti thermal pads with some ceramic, which has very high thermal conductivity. It came down to the fact that the material is very hard and impossible to squeeze at all, which means that the pad's thickness should be measured and cut with extreme precise in the margin of probably thousandth of a millimeter, which is practically impossible at home without any instruments, especially knowing the fact that from the factory thickness is already differs very much, from 0.40 something to 0.80 something. Anyway, after everything I told in the previous video, I tried some cheap Chinese thermal pads which couldn't handle that GDDR6 memory at all. Next my step was Gillette GP Ultimate thermal pads. They come in 1mm and 1.5. Obviously 1mm is too thin for 3070 Ti, so I ordered 1.5mm. I was hoping to squeeze them, but nope, the same story as with those ceramic thermal pads. They're too damn hard. Memory temperatures dropped to reasonably good 80 something degrees. GPU temperatures were getting very high. I tried to squeeze them by hand. I even tried to cut them in half and then stuck together and squeeze again, but no luck. Process was very tedious and annoying, and again I had to reassemble the GPU every single time just to check if the thickness is right or not yet. Probably with enough iterations it would be possible to guess the thickness, but it's just stupid. It's just so damn stupid. I'm not doing this, I'm not talking about this anymore. And of course there's a thread on Reddit where people telling that those GP Ultimate thermal pads are too hard and it's better just to sacrifice some of thermal conductivity and get those GP Extreme instead, because they're just softer and easier to deal with. Then somehow I ended up buying this Upsiren thermal paste for thermal pad replacement. I don't even know how it is called properly. Some people call it a liquid thermal paste. Some people call it thermal putty. What a stupid word. And this thing is turned out to be the best out of the bunch, not in terms of thermal conductivity. It says only 12.8 watts per meter Kelvin, but overall, let's say so. The material is soft, clay-like, and feels grainy a little bit, like sand. You just pile it on generously on each and every module and assemble the GPU back. I tested cryptocurrency mining and maximum I seen 98 degrees, which means that memory temperatures dropped only about 15 to 12 degrees. Some people may say that 98 degrees is still a very high number, but come on, NVIDIA allows video card to hit that 110 degrees on memory modules, and considering how easy it is to apply that putty on memory modules and how oddly satisfying that applying process is, dropping to 98 degrees is enough improvement for me.
That's a number I can live with.
Heatsink now is hot as hell and hurts to touch, but it is how it is supposed to be in the first place. It means that now heat is actually being transferred properly from GPU and memory as well. As a result, I got a GPU which is never throttles. And more than that, if the load on GPU is small to average, fans not even turning on. At first, I was surprised, honestly. I so used to that noise from the 3070 Ti that I legitimately thought that I forgot to connect fans connector. But then I started some benchmarks and eventually fans turned on. If you don't know, or if you do not want to know that exact thickness of thermal pads which are right now installed in your video card, that thermal putty or liquid thermal pad is probably the simplest and easiest option out there if you want to replace thermal pads on your video card. You just apply enough and you can be perfectly sure that thickness is entirely correct. And you also can be sure that this way GPU and heatsink also as close as it even possible. It is the most foolproof option out there, as long as you're careful enough. But of course, if you want to get those 80 to 85 degrees on memory modules, by some reason, you better go with those gelid pads. But make sure you pick extreme, not ultimate, because as we figured it out, ultimate is very hard and you just can't squeeze them enough. But sometimes the easiest way is better way. Thank you for watching.